So here's where we are right now. We are still waiting for Texas. We've had Sanders, we've had, Biden. It's been back and forth all night and into the wee hours of the morning. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders projected to win California, though. It's been a solid night, though, for former Vice President Joe Biden. Let's bring in Left Coast News political strategist and attorney Ethan Behrman, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, and Trump 2020 National Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. Good to have all of you with us tonight.
Hi, Shannon.
Okay, so I want to play a little bit of what President Trump had to say yesterday about how things appeared to be coming together in the more moderate lane of the Democrats.
It's being rigged against Crazy Bernie. Crazy Bernie's going to go crazy. Sounds like they made a deal, you know. They both supported Sleepy Joe. You know why? They made a deal. You know why? Quid pro quo.
All right, Leslie, the president has been agitating and continues to do this in his rallies on Twitter and everywhere else. Say, listen, Bernie, don't let him take it away from you again. He knows how to stir the pot. Think he enjoys it.
Oh, he definitely enjoys it, but it's not factual. I mean, in 2016, Bernie Sanders didn't have the majority of delegates. And I don't care what people think the arm of the DNC has. Voters made their decision in 2016 as to who they wanted as their Democratic nominee. That was Hillary Clinton. And today, voters are clearly showing in various states that they are going all in for Joe Biden. Certainly in the state I'm sitting in California right now, they're showing that for Bernie Sanders. This is not being stolen from Bernie Sanders. The voters are out there and they are voting the candidate that they feel will do the number one thing on their minds, which is make Donald Trump a one-term president.
All right, Kayleigh, former Senator Claire McCaskill, a Democrat, of course, says this. It's rich that anyone in the Republican Party would accuse the Democrats of a rigged process when they've actually canceled primary elections for Trump. D's are following the rules and will continue to do so. You've heard here on this network. There are a lot of Democrats who say stay out of our business. You're stirring things up that are not factual. And you just heard it from Leslie.
Unfortunately, the senator is not factual because, in fact, past incumbents routinely cancel primaries and caucuses. That's just what happens. Obama did it. Where she's wrong, once again, is the fact that this is being rigged against Bernie. It was 2016 where the DNC chair had to be removed the night before the convention. You had Donna Brazile out there saying the deck was stacked against Bernie. Go back and read her book. I know she's singing a different tune now, but she noted this, that it was as if the campaign was being run out of the Hillary Clinton headquarters and was against Bernie. So it doesn't matter what the delegates lined up to be. The process was rigged against Bernie. That was evident. It's happening again. Just look in the last 48 hours. You have Buttigieg dropping out, endorsing who? Biden. You had Klobuchar dropping out, endorsing who? Biden. Beto coming out from who knows where he was, endorsing Biden. Do you see a theme? It is Biden. It's being rigged against Bernie. That's what's happening.
Okay, one Biden supporter on Twitter pushes back on that. Bill Maxwell tweets this. The Bernie supporters are going insane, calling it rigged, that most of us don't want Bernie. Nothing's rigged about it. The party's unifying behind a candidate. That's not a conspiracy. That's a primary. The attacks on the DNC and establishment Dems are outrageous. Ethan, what's your take? Is it just the natural progression and there's attrition in the field and this is what happens?
Here's the explanation. African-American voters in the South love Joe Biden. Overwhelmingly, they are voting for Joe Biden. So if you're saying that that's rigged, you're trying to what? Tell the Supreme Court we need to reinstate the Voting Rights Act because you're trying to discriminate and disenfranchise black voters in the South. That's what's happening. That is who is behind Joe Biden's rise. And again, and it's older people in the party as well. So yes, Bernie Sanders is definitely getting the younger crowd in general, but Biden has the wave, the power. And by the way, where's Beto been? Beto's been building a huge grassroots organization in Texas to turn it blue. It's called Powered by the People. And that's who's putting the power behind Biden and probably the explanation for Biden's good showing in Texas tonight as well.
Okay, I want to play something from Senator Sanders himself, his take on this whole thing. Here's what he says.
You all know, you can't miss it if you turn on the TV, the establishment in this country, the economic establishment and the political establishment are becoming very nervous. I mean this very sincerely. Joe Biden is a friend of mine. I've known Joe for a very long time. Nope. Joe is a decent guy. He's just wrong on the issues.
I mean, Leslie, he says the establishment doesn't want him to win. That's what he thinks.
Well, of course, moderate and centrist Democrats don't want him to win any more than people in his lane, the liberal progressive faction of the Democratic Party, don't want Joe Biden to be the nominee and to win. But when you look at a Pete Buttigieg, when you look at an Amy Klobuchar, who are they going to support? They were two moderates, and they, at some point, everybody has to look and have their come to Jesus moment and say, I can't win this, and I'm going to throw my support. Are people not going to expect Elizabeth Warren, if she steps out of the race, to support Bernie? That's not a conspiracy, I would agree. That is a primary. And the bottom line here is that you just have different philosophies in the Democratic Party. But you know what? I hope that we've learned our lesson from 2016 and that we come together and unite and take a page from the Republican playbook, because that's what they did in 2016, and they won.
Okay, so we had a Democrat guest on last hour who pointed out that there are a number of recent polls that shows whether it is Bernie or whether it is Biden, if it is one of those two, that in head-to-head matchups, Kaylee, that they best President Trump in important states.
Well, they're wrong once again. You know, our internals that President Trump had mentioned just 2 weeks ago show in a head-to-head matchup with a defined candidate, President Trump prevails against every single one of these candidates, bottom line. And I would look tonight at the untold story of Super Tuesday, that in Vermont, you had President Trump beating the vote totals of all past incumbents in the last 4 decades in Vermont. In Colorado, turnout was higher than the last 3 GOP primaries combined. And in Maine, beating the vote totals of all past primary candidates in the last 4 decades yet again. These are states that are blue states, and President Trump is prevailing. The energy is on our side. No one's talking about it now, but they're going to wake up very surprised on November 3rd, 2020.
Ethan, what about that? Because, yeah, we've tracked a number of these states where people know that there is no real serious challenger to President Trump, and they're turning out, as Kaylee said, in record numbers. I mean, that's statistical, objectively, verifiable. Those are numbers. So what do you make of that for this president who continues to have massive rallies? The only thing we've seen similar on the other side has been with Bernie Sanders, and yet there are a lot of folks within the Democratic Party who now are publicly speaking out about their worries about him being their nominee.
Yeah, Kaylee actually made a really important point there. The Democrats, we do need to be very careful about the energy for President Trump, and we need to make sure that we're energizing our base and making sure that everybody has the opportunity to get out there and vote on November 3rd and make sure that we have our pieces in place to get everybody to the polls so every Democrat has the opportunity to vote, in spite of what states like Texas have done, removing voting precincts, disenfranchising voters, because yes, states like Texas, states like Arizona can turn blue, and that's going to be the surprise for the Republicans, is the turnout from people like Mark Kelly, who's beating Martha McSally by 4.7% in the latest polls. This could be a wild November 3rd that we're going to have an outcome that none of us are expecting.
Yeah, there are a lot of critical Senate seats, and we'll keep updating folks on some of those primaries and things going on with that tonight. Okay, I want to ask you guys, as we did the last panel, if you give me a show of hands, who thinks that Elizabeth Warren is out within the next week? Let me see your hands. Okay, I see Leslie. Others, you got to put it right in front of you so I can see it. All right, everybody thinks she's out. Okay, what about Michael Bloomberg? Because he said, listen, the only way I'm going to win this is to go to a contested convention. That's what you do. You make deals. He said this on our town hall to Martha and Brett. Who thinks that he sticks around until the convention and is still part of this? Raise your hands. I don't see any hands raised. Okay, you guys are ready for Senator Warren and former Mayor Bloomberg to go. Okay, thank you all for staying up late with us. Ethan, Leslie, and Kaylee, great to see you.
Thank you so much,
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.